Welcome to our deep dive discussion on the fallout over the Epstein files and how it's sparking a real meltdown among Trump's base, as highlighted by Nicole Wallace and reporters like Glenn Thrush.
Yeah, it's a wild mix of political drama and tragedy, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's like a double edged sword. On one hand, you've got the revelations about Epstein always casting a dark shadow, and on the other, there's this intense reaction from MAGA supporters who are, well, not buying the narrative that Trump and his team are setting. It really
Yep.
shakes the foundation of the whole coalition.
Right. And what really stands out is how this isn't just a minor blip. It seems like Trump's base is showing some serious cracks in their confidence. It's almost as if they feel betrayed by their own leader.
Exactly, it's like they're saying, we were promised loyalty and protection, but now we're left with a lot of unanswered questions about the Epstein files and what Trump's really doing.
And I think it's interesting how experts like Nicole Wallace are framing this meltdown. They point out that it's not just about the scandal itself, but about what it signifies for trust in Trump's leadership.
Yeah, it's like, it's a crisis of confidence and credibility rolled into one. There's this real tension, like if your base can't even trust you on something so fundamental, then what's next for your whole political future?
Absolutely. But do you think it's fair to say that Trump's base is uniformly against him because of this? Or is there more nuance?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. Some in the base are like doubling down on their support and even calling Trump's handling a mere distraction, while others are visibly frustrated and feeling misled. It highlights an internal struggle about what loyalty means when scandal and accountability come into play.
Right? And it's that internal division that really puts Trump's leadership in a tough spot. The base isn't monolithic, it's a mix of die-hard supporters and more moderate conservatives.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because you see reactions coming in real time. I mean, on outlets like MSNBC, you get this analysis that links the Epstein files not just to legal issues, but to like the erosion of trust within his own camp.
Right. And speaking of legal issues, the involvement of the Justice Department also adds an extra layer of tension. It's not just a public relations crisis, but a legal and ethical one too.
Exactly. And that's a key point. The DOJ's handling, or mishandling, as some critics would say, of these files feeds into the narrative that Trump might be compromising his position further. It's almost like, in the eyes of his loyalists, even the legal apparatus might be seen as biased or part of some larger scheme.
Yeah, totally. But isn't there a risk here that critics oversimplify the situation? I mean, could it be that both sides are playing a bit too fast and loose with their rhetoric?
Well, there's certainly a level of exaggeration on both sides. But the core issue remains. Trust is eroding, and for a political brand that heavily relies on unwavering loyalty, that's a big problem. It's like if you imagine a sports team where the fans start questioning the coach's decisions mid-game, the whole dynamic shifts.
That's a great analogy. And do you think this meltdown relates only to the Epstein files? Or is it a symptom of broader issues within the MAGA movement?
It definitely seems like a symptom of a larger discontent. The Epstein controversy has become a flashpoint that exposes underlying fractures, issues like accountability, the dilution of shared values, and even the role of external pressures such as the media and the DOJ.
Yep. I mean, when you consider how political allegiances have shifted over time, moments like these serve as reminders that even the most steadfast supporters can waver. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And there's also an interesting twist in how some in Trump's camp are trying to reframe the narrative. They claim the issue is a setup, a sort of witch hunt designed to undermine his legacy. But that reframing itself contributes to the divisiveness.
Right? Because if you keep spinning that narrative, doesn't it reinforce the idea that reality is being manipulated, thus intensifying the crisis of confidence?
Exactly. It's like the more you insist on a conspiracy narrative, the less you allow for any critical self-reflection within the movement, and then you risk alienating even those who might have been on the fence.
Yeah, I see that. Indeed, and I find it interesting that news segments, like the one featuring Nicole Wallace, are careful to articulate this meltdown as a sort of real-time phenomenon, a live unraveling of support rather than a static event.
Right, and that immediacy really adds to the drama. It's like watching a slow motion train wreck where every new development intensifies the impact.
But here's something I'm pondering. Could this moment of crisis actually lead to a more honest recalibration within Trump's camp, or is it more likely to deepen the divisions further?
That's a fair point, and I think it could go either way. On one hand, it might force a reckoning with past decisions, sparking a push for more transparency. On the other, it might simply polarize the conversation even further and drive an even harder narrative of us versus
Yeah,
them.
good point. And in the broader political theater, these internal conflicts have ripple effects. They can alter how other political figures and institutions engage with the MAGA movement as a whole, right?
Precisely. The fallout isn't confined to Trump's immediate circle, it's impacting his entire coalition. It's almost like the Epstein files have become a litmus test for where moral and legal accountability stands within the movement.
Exactly. From a journalistic standpoint, do you think the coverage is balanced, or might it be pushed by certain biases?
Well, that's a point where opinions diverge. Some argue that outlets like MSNBC are leaning towards framing the issue as a seismic shift in political loyalties, while others claim that the coverage underplays the complexity of the internal emotions in the base. It's like every narrative seems to have its own angle.
True, and that's where respectful critique comes in. I mean, while some might say the backlash is overblown, acknowledging the nuances could lead to a more informed political conversation.
Absolutely, and here's where the conversation gets a bit challenging. There are those who argue, and I kind of see their point, that if you focus too much on legalistic details, you might miss the larger picture of political trust and identity.
Yeah, I see that. Right. If you're always dissecting the minutiae, you might not appreciate how these events reflect the collective sentiment and historical grievances of the base.
Exactly, and it's almost like this is a turning point. Whether it will lead to reform within the ranks or simply deepen the existing fissures, only time will tell. But one thing's clear, the Epstein files have, in many ways, exposed vulnerabilities in what many assumed was a monolithic support system.
And that vulnerability, in turn, is bound to have far-reaching implications for Trump's presidency and the future trajectory of the MAGA movement.
Absolutely, and while the narrative is still evolving, this moment is a powerful reminder of the interplay between scandal, media framing, and political identity. It's like watching history being written in real time, with all its messy contradictions and passionate responses.
Yeah, exactly.